Alright, hello guys and welcome to Davis Cup 6. We're gonna watch the final between Rehoboam and Immortal. TheNightPanda should come in few minutes. He said two minutes. The time he comes, we can have a look at the bracket and look at what those two AIs did during this tournament. Both of them started at the stage of the qualification stage. Immortal did almost perfect in this tournament. It won any single game during the first stage of this tournament. 2-0 against Vesravana, same against Mini Power. It defeated Alice's, also 2-0. Then it lost its unique game in a 4v4 against Barbarian in the final stage round 1. And after this it just wrapped any other opponent 4-0. The victims were Doomsday, Snake, Rehoboam, The Horde, Juggernaut, Tribal, Pharaon. So this match is a revenge from the final stage round 2. Rehoboam lost against Immortal, at least 4-0, but lost also, I don't know if it lost another match, at least I know that it lost few games here and there. I remember the first match it played during the qualification stage, in which it lost one game against Rage, which was the first one, the 1v1, and after this it won the rest of the games against Rehoboam, no, against Bundle City, against Bambi. And until it reached the final stage round 2, it suffered from a lot of bugs, which were eventually fixed step by step. But in fact, final stage round 1 went quite difficult for Rehoboam, which obtained 2 tie against Odette and Illuminati, and eventually won one match against Subjugator, 3-1. And after this, it had to face Immortal, a match which was lost 4-0. And then Rehoboam won 3-1 against Juggernaut and 4-0 against The Horde. And eventually we had a great improvement for Rehoboam with the latest update, which offered Rehoboam a pretty solid gameplay, which allowed Rehoboam to win 4-0 against Shadow and 4-2 against Barbarian. So I would say that this ultimate update for Rehoboam offers maybe some opportunities in this final against the scary Immortal. Okay, so anyway, I just have had a check about what Immortal and Rehoboam did when you were fixing the sound. I was saying that Rehoboam had some edge improvement all along this tournament, and I assume that the very early version, which did participate in the qualification stage, would never have reached the final of this tournament without a lot of work from TheNightPanda. So already congratulations for this.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the initial version was basically equivalent to the 1.1.7.0 version. Yeah, so it's not only that it's been updated for user patch, but it's gotten several new features as well on DE, so you could say it's quite a new AI to what was at the beginning of the tournament.
Yep. And hello, Battle. And sorry for the fact that you've got the coronavirus. I hope that all is fine for you. And yes, the Maximal Being is not here, unfortunately. I didn't see him around for a few weeks, I would say. I hope that all is fine for him. And okay, so I suggest us to give it a start. We've got a lot of match to watch. We will start with the first one, of course, the 1v1. As usual for Rehoboam, the games have been recorded. So everything is already played. I won't spoil. TheNightPanda didn't have a look at those recorded games. Okay, so here we go. I think that everything is ready. Let's go for capture
Oh, and by the
rage.
way, congratulations on Pharaoh beating Barbie in the bronze match.
Yep, in fact. It was a confirmation from the first victory obtained previously, 3-1. And I have to say that Pharaoh is a
Yep.
unique AI, having won 2 matches against Barbarian.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole new top 3 compared to last Dave or every other Davis Cup.
Yep. Okay, so let's go. Okay. So just let me know if everything works fine.
Seems to look good.
All right. So what I said previously is Immortal lost 1 game only during the World Tournament. It was against Barbarian 4v4. It wasn't that version, it was a previous version. So I don't know if Immortal would have lost that game against Barbarian with the version v0.9c.
Yeah, my experience from testing against Immortal is that the the 09 update was a huge improvement from the 08 update, but that the updates after that has been relatively minor and haven't really, at least against Rehoboam, made that much of a difference.
Okay.
But that being said, this 09 version was such a huge improvement that it was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't spoil anything, but
But you
it
will?
was very hard to beat Immortal after that one. Let's just put it like that.
Okay. Okay.
And obviously, to anyone who may not know, Rehoboam is only really made to play on DE, and while this version is able to play on user patch, it's still a lot weaker than compared to the DE version, especially in the first half of the game. So
Well,
So
I remember that
I would say
you shared a percentage to value the difference in skill between the two versions. What was it? Previously, it was supposed to be a 50% um, weaker than the official D version.
yeah, you know, I mean, those numbers are obviously just taken out of the thin air. There's no way to give an objective score saying exactly how much worse it is, but my subjective feeling uh, is that the initial version was maybe playing at 50% strength, and that's including that it would just sometimes bug out so much that
Hmm.
it just wouldn't play at all. This version will rarely do that, but it can sometimes, as we saw last set, fail to build lumber camps and stuff, or mining camps, I mean. Um, but yeah, I would say it plays around 70% of DE strength in the early game and 90% DE strength in the late game. And the affected areas are mainly the micro and the early game um, efficiency of villagers collecting resources.
Okay. And what do you think about the fact that this tournament is set the way it's mirror civilizations? Is it um, a good point for Rehoboam against Immortal? I mean, we know that Immortal tends to go for Scout Rush as Frankish, while it would go for something else in with other
Yeah,
civilizations.
I definitely think it's an advantage for Rehoboam to have mirrored civs, yeah. Um, Good start for Immortal here, it seems, killing a villager and the scout of Rehoboam.
Yep.
But yeah, Rehoboam's macro against scouts are with archers are generally pretty good. It may lose a bit more builds, but it should be able to at least kill the army at some point. Oh, that's a lot of dead bills.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
moly!
That Scout Rush is awful for Rehoboam actually. I think that it lost like 7 or 8 villagers.
Yeah,
And if Immortal went for archers and skirmishers, would it be worst worst for Rehoboam?
I mean it's hard to say. Generally, I would say that Scout Rush did a lot more damage than Immortal Scout Rushes usually do. Um, yeah, now Rehoboam really needs to do a lot of damage in a short amount of time here. It did go the correct way around the tower, so hopefully it will be able to not walk into the TC here. Come on, do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like
I I
it's
think
killing
that
some bills here.
yeah, I think that it's attracted by the lumber camp, which is behind the forest.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate map generation for the pathing of Rehoboam here. I think the archers gets a
Yep,
bit confused,
I agree.
but it's not all bad. It did kill a reasonable amount of vills from Immortal here, and another nice thing is that so much of Immortal's food eco seems to be idle here. Um, all those farms being idle should be really good for Rehoboam. And also Rehoboam managed to go Castle Age in a decent time. Though I'm a bit scared for the army here of Rehoboam as... Oh, actually I'd find a nice pocket in the trees. Usually it will have trouble microing close to trees, but
Yep, yeah, it worked
seems
fine.
seems like it wasn't... Yeah. Yeah, but that house and wood line there really is confusing Rehoboam next to the TC.
Yes, the path between the forest and the houses is is quite teeny. Okay, we've got some knights which are coming. Ah yes, but crossbows are dying under the TC while they are trying to pass.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they are not able to pass the CC. I did make code to make it able to pass in such situations, but for some reason that code isn't triggering here.
Yeah. Yeah. Immortal does have a pretty decent wood line in the back. And it's building its castle as it loves to do, stuck to the TC, well protected. And this castle is pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm a bit sad about the opening this game, because I think 1v1 is by far Rehoboam's best chance to take games against Immortal, but it was slightly unfortunate the way the base of Immortal is structured.
Yeah. We've got 3 TCs each AI. It's
We can also see
being
the
pretty close. Looking at the civilian population, it's almost the same.
Yeah, but Rehoboam really needs to be ahead at this point to have a chance. Also the entire base of Immortal makes both the archers and the knights for Rehoboam bug out. It constantly tries to run around, but the pathing calculations change all the time, so it can't get around the wood line there.
Yep.
With the knights.
I think that the time Immortal was vulnerable is no more the case. We've got villagers trying to build a forward castle, Immortal side. Well, we've got a stable in the front, interesting.
I guess one nice thing for Rehoboam, even though it doesn't look that great, is that the archers are idling a lot of vills that keeps garrisoning in the TC. But yeah, I think Rehoboam might lose all its knights here just to the castle of Immortal.
Yep, at least
it's not
it
really
managed to
meant.
kill few villagers. Yeah, the kill ratio is clearly at the advantage of Immortal at this point. While Rehoboam is keeping spamming knights, almost stuck under the forward castle at this point.
Yeah, Rehoboam doesn't know how to deal with forward castles, so it may just suicide all its units here actually. I wouldn't be surprised if that end up happening.
Immortal eventually starts training its army. The castle here is
Rehoboam's knight. Yeah, I think this game is over, unfortunately. The that castle will just make Rehoboam bug out for the rest of the game, I think. It's never meant to play against forward castles.
Yep.
Yeah, that wood line really saved Immortal for this game. I think it would have been dead otherwise.
Well, look at the economy for Rehoboam, maybe, well, it does have university, monastery. Under the pressure, maybe something is preventing Rehoboam to research Imperial Age.
Yeah, the fact that it doesn't have any military, it wants to make more knights before going up, so it probably won't even go up this game.
Okay. I can increase the
I think you
speed.
can fast.
Yep.
Yeah, you can increase the speed.
In in 1v1 at least, I can make it speed fast. It works. All right.
I would say I would be happy if Rehoboam can take one game here, but I think the best chance of that happening was probably this game. At least it can still beat Immortal on DE. Yeah, so Waddle, the Rehoboam is actually able to change the direction the archers are walking.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure what went wrong here. Actually, it should just have dived under the TC, and then just kept walking around the TC. I think actually thinking about it, I think what happened this game, the reason it kept sending archers under the TC was that it was trying to reach a point further away from the TC where the forest was. So it actually, every time it got close to Immortal's TC, it tried to walk to the other side of the wood line because of the way the wood line was structured and the way
Mhm.
it does pathing calculations. So that's my best bet as to why it was unable to go under the TC, because it actually has code that allows it to go under the TC and just continue through the base there. But I think the wood line, uh, the way the wood line was spawned was just unlucky.
Yeah. In my experience against Immortal, at least with Tribal Warrior, um, is you definitely can hurt Immortal quite a lot in its early castle age time, especially with your archers, skirmishers all around its town, and definitely yeah, that game was a shame for Rehoboam, and it could have been pretty different.
Yeah. Oh, what is happening here? Rehoboam is completely bugging out. Blue one. All the
Yeah, it
I
went
have no idea what's
for the
happening
boar.
there. I have never ever seen this bug before.
Crap.
All the vills went to the wood line for some reason. I think it has had to do with the TC garrisoning, and maybe possibly the gather point got set wrong. The gather point doesn't work for Rehoboam on user patch, but I haven't seen it happen before. Oh, it's 4 vills behind already.
Yeah,
That
honestly,
may be game deciding.
I don't know what Red Scout was already doing on blue when blue was bugging. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, yeah, but now Rehoboam is bugging out completely.
Damn.
That's it. It will turn the basically it will turn itself back to the version from 2 years ago, when it's encountering very bad bugs because it assumes that the whole game is basically gone wrong, uh, and that no vills could possibly be working at this point. So um, I think, unfortunately, this game might already be over due to that.
Yeah, we can see already some bonds in Greenstown.
Yeah, I guess both Rehoboams had a bad start here, but I'm mostly worried for blue here. The rules that are currently running will will certainly lose to Immortal because it's 2-year-old code only running now.
Hmm.
I'm not even sure. I think actually Rehoboam is unable to scout the enemy and send military to the enemy with these rules. It's
Wow.
something that will happen less than once every 100 games from my testing, but apparently it happened this game.
Well, at least we've got green having found red. Yellow went for a bunch of skirmishers.
Yeah, blue isn't even going feudal age here.
Yep. Wow, that's a feudal age time. We might have some good micro here between green and yellow. At least the micro is working. We've got some support which are coming. Despite the bugs, I would say that green is doing fine against yellow at this point. But yellow is not too far from researching Castle Age. And blue side, it looks like Scout didn't do any damage against blue.
Yeah, they never sent the scouts there, but unfortunately it doesn't matter. Blue is so far behind due to the Dark Age bugging out.
Yep.
I think green can probably win against yellow here, but not to the extent that it will need to win, I think. Because red will just have a free boom here.
Well, this time green, Rehoboam managed to turn all around the enemy's TC without any trouble. He does have the military advantage. 25 units against 12. Okay, let's go back just because it's researching Castle Age. Oh, red is coming. Well, even with skirmishers, Rehoboam is good in defending against knights with his super strong micro. And blue is eventually entering the fight.
Yeah. At this point, blue will use the new the new rules again, so to
Okay.
say. Um, because it's Castle Age, then it's turns other sections of the rules on again. But Rehoboam is 40 mils behind at this point, so it would need a miracle to come back in this game.
Yeah, green is doing a good job. It was 1v2 before blue eventually started to play. Okay, it eventually lost its army. What makes me scared is civilian population clearly has the advantage of Immortal at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite sad. I think Rehoboam would have actually have a very good chance of winning this game if not for the bucks and for blue and dark age.
Yeah.
Now green has no army left though.
Well, okay, so green is building a third TC. It's training some knights.
Yet again, we have a one of those wood lines that makes the pathing for the AI very awkward. Rehoboam is unable to get around with blue's archers.
And Immortal is not too far from researching Imperial Age.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this game is over now. There's no way Rehoboam will will be able to win, being 20 vills behind both AIs here. If it was against Shadow or some AI with less of a late game powerhouse than Immortal, it might be possible, but yeah. I don't really see it happening here.
And in fact, I'm always impressed by the early Imperial Age from Immortal, which looks always pretty efficient.
Yeah, that's good at keeping its population very high.
Yep.
Always going, never having any more spare resources than it needs to.
Yeah, and in Castle Age, what I like is it never overtrain its military population. Just keep training if it's required, and it can sometimes stay slow in military population just because it does have a small advantage to the opponents. It's almost focused on having a good Imperial Age time, and then in early Imperial Age it tends to make the difference. Well, I can
Yeah, I wish there
increase
was
the
a bit more
speed.
to comment on, but you can... Yeah, you can. I wish there was a bit more to comment on, but... Just two big bucks the first two games here, which was probably the best chances for Rehoboam to win games. It's too bad. But I knew that I would never be able to fix all the user patch related bugs for Rehoboam.
Yeah, it's especially sad because the previous matches against Shadow and especially against Barbarian, um, there was not that many bugs compared to what we saw during the first two games here.
Yeah, I guess actually game one wasn't as much of a bug as just very bad luck with the map generation.
In fact, yeah, but that second
but
game
it is still only some.
Yeah.
It is still only something that will happen on user patch, I think, because on Arabia, woodlines doesn't tend to be created in that way. So I don't think that it would have happened on DE. Woodlines tend to be slightly smaller there.
Good defense here from blue. At least it managed to survive. But red army is actually pretty scary. And look at yellow. No more chance here for blue. Green being already defeated. Okay, 2-0.
Randy Rehoboam was preparing trade, and then it will make extra markets for that.
Well, that's 17 minutes to reach feudal age, at least. Was the big mess in this game.
Yeah, I kinda knew when I saw it happen that it would decide the game. It's just not, when you're up against an AI like Immortal, it's just not something you can get back from. But as I said, I think it's due to the gather point commands working differently on user patch and DE. At least I've never ever seen that bug happen before, but it did seem to be related to all the vills garrisoning when Immortal Scout was there, and then somehow they went to the woodline instead of going back to work where they should have been. And it was, on top of that, it was in the middle of a ball lure, which it apparently completely stopped trying to even kill the boar, so it just bugged out completely.
Immortal is quite lucky with Huns as a third civilization with Frankish and Persian. With Huns, Immortal goes for archery ranges, so that can be interesting.
Yep. The tricky thing here for Rehoboam is that Immortal's defense is so good. So usually it's very hard for Rehoboam to break the flanks enough to actually start attacking the pockets. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's very hard, and it's it's usually able to do it decently on DE, but on user patch it's just not efficient enough in the Dark Age to get the lead that it needs. But it doesn't seem like there's been any serious bugs, at least so far.
Yeah, everything is fine. We noticed that Immortal didn't upgrade Bloom. It gives one
Yeah,
villager advantage.
yeah. Rehoboam will do Loom a lot more on user patch, simply because the bowler doesn't work as well on user patch for Rehoboam as it does on DE. And also you need 2 hits on the boar on user patch.
Yeah.
And the boars tend to be further away, so on user patch Rehoboam will usually get Loom fairly early, as opposed to DE. Obviously Immortal is made for user patch, so it has the it's better at hitting the board twice without losing as much HP in the villager. Um,
Do you think that Immortal is better in user patch compared to DE, or?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, interesting.
There's there are several things several features of Immortal that doesn't function perfectly on DE. For instance, the gather point of the TC doesn't work the same way on DE,
Okay.
which TheMaximalBeing has spoken a bit about, handicapping Immortal a little bit. I think there's also some other features, but I think that is the main thing, as I understood it. And also the the latest version, the of Immortal, which is playing here, is not updated for DE yet. So, and it's significantly stronger, right? The 0.9 version compared to the 0.8. So,
So definitely the next tournament hosted on DE is going to be pretty interesting, especially to compare those AIs in those two versions. And okay, we've got some action here. Red is scout rushing green. Green didn't suffer from any bugs this time and managed to defend with its archers. Other side. Okay, other side. Purple did go for a sneaky rush with a bunch of archers, exactly like Barbarian would do. But it's eventually going back safely.
yeah, not a lot of action here so far.
Okay, purple comes back stronger this time with many more arches. But Rehoboam is prepared next to the tower. Here we go for some good micros.
Here we see Rehoboam taking the hill,
Yeah,
which is not it's not a coincidence. It is programmed to try and take the hill when it fights.
nice. Barbarian does the same if I'm right.
I don't know. I can't understand any of Barbie's code, but at least this is one of the things making the ranged unit micro of Rehoboam better in this version compared to the previous one. The
Yeah.
fact that it will when I test Rehoboam against its older version, that's usually what makes the difference. The fact that it will find a hill and take winning fights from there.
Well, what
Good
Tribal
start
would
here
do
for
in
Rehoboam, it seems.
this situation, what Tribal would do is just if it if it has a disadvantage regarding the hide, it will tend to go back.
It will tend to what, you said?
To leave the fight, to go back, if it does have a disadvantage.
Yeah.
That's what Tribal does. Okay, we've got some support from Yellow. Oh, that's gonna be a big fight here, especially if Purple comes to attack with Yellow. Unfortunately, Purple didn't come, and it makes still having a good advantage here.
Yeah, that was a very nice fight.
Yeah, Tilly is researching Castle Age. At time, I think Purple is already in Castle Age with crossbows, but the timing shouldn't be bad for Till. Other side, Red is clearly under the domination of Green, helped by Blue.
Yeah. Yeah, losing those knights from Yellow will mean that it doesn't have that much to support Red here.
Exactly.
So that should
Yeah.
make Blue's attack a lot more efficient.
Okay, Greens survived from having crossed the red tower, which is a good point.
Yeah, we might actually end up in a situation where Red will die here, and hopefully Green will try to go for the pocket if that happens.
Oh, I would like those crossbows to find that TC under the construction. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's just a little too far away.
Yep. And Tilly's maintaining the pressure.
Also, the blue pocket has a small villager lead on the yellow pocket.
Yep. Yellow was slow in building its third TC. It may be focused more on training knights and camels first.
Yeah, Immortal will go a little more. The Immortal pockets will go a little more heavy into military in the early Castle Age compared to Rehoboam.
Well, I think that it can be a good option, especially in 3v3, when the pocket is pretty important.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends how much damage you expect to be able to do with the army, right?
Yep.
I wish green and blue would go for the pocket here. Go for yellow, because it seems like all the villagers of red are in positions that can't really be hit at this point.
Yeah, and as usual with Immortal, it's already hard to definitely kill someone. By the way, the villagers keep surviving under the TC, etc.
Yeah, yellow hasn't done much with its units here.
Yep, and it keeps having a pretty low military population.
Looks like purple is catching up here, though. Seems to be doing a bit better than teal.
Yep, eventually. Despite the pressure. Indeed, it is booming with 4 TCs against 2 TCs for teal. Okay, we've got chain guarding for blue. It's now time to attack the TC.
Yeah, blue is also up to imp here
Yep.
with quite a nice army. And question is just if they can kill, or if they will go for yellow before yellow is fully boomed here.
Yeah, it can be interesting to see if blue was found. Yellow, I mean. Yes, it was. Even blue did find yellow.
Yeah, the issue is that that the population count of red still is high enough that that Rehoboam doesn't see red as being dead here, so it won't go for the pocket. Unfortunately, that's the difference between Immortal and other AIs, because it's so good at defending and not losing all its villagers in these situations.
In fact,
I do think blue will have the possibility of a strong attack here. It will get Cavalier now.
yeah,
Though
it's
it may
Paladins. Fortunately, we had the support from green. Crossbows were kind of precious, especially to kill the camels from yellow.
Yep.
And in fact, red is maintaining its civilian population around 40. Interesting, eventually blue is sending its units in the direction of the yellow player. It's starting to red.
Yeah, I'm a bit afraid that it hasn't done enough damage here though. Also, purple seems to be fully boomed now.
Yeah, and yeah, the issue is still is not running any military population for quite long. It does have a lot of resources. It keeps staying in Castle Edge, maybe because it's supposed to train military population before clicking Imperial Age. But
It
it's
hasn't
actually
built.
training nothing.
It has the. Yeah, it has a bug where it can't build its university. That sometimes happens on user patch, unfortunately. So we may have teal not doing anything for the rest of the game here.
Ah, so bad.
Yeah. I have tried to fix it, but I don't know why it doesn't build it sometimes on user patch.
And in fact, purple is doing the job. It's actually protecting yellow in the front of its town. And red is keeping having a decent civilian population compared to what we saw previously.
Yeah, I think slowly and steadily Immortal will take the lead here. Teal not being able to do anything for the rest of the game will effectively make this a 2v2.
Yeah, it was doing so fine previously in this game. Okay, red lost one GC. There is one remaining GC. and Immortal knows where to build its castles. That new castle from yellow is pretty decent. Oh, we've got two new pieces built by red.
And we'll see Immortal retake the Skull Eater.
In fact, this is a critical moment.
I wonder if Rehoboam would have won this game if Teal hadn't fucked out and was able to build its university.
Yeah, it probably would have won, I think, at this point.
It's hard to say. It is so hard to break Immortal post in.
Yeah, now yellow is almost full population. Well, blue does have a lot of strat cards. 50 strat cards is quite a lot. But its economy keeps being quite low compared to purple or yellow.
Yeah, Immortal's melee micro here is making that difference, I think. Constantly taking better fights.
Well, red looks completely dead.
Yeah, so is Teal.
So is Teal, yep.
Dead but rich.
And indeed no university for Teal. Well, red is attempting to build one new TC. He does have one unique villager, which which is that one.
We'll probably go on for some time. Or Immortal will just take better fights. At some point, probably go for a big push. Seems like Immortal is slowly deleting builds as well, as it has a lot of spare resources, which
Yeah,
will give it a bigger army.
in fact, at least purple
Probably
does.
big enough. Yeah.
Yellow keeps being under the pressure of green plus blue. There could be a window regarding the fact that purple does almost nothing on Til's town, actually. But definitely purple does have a scary military population.
Yeah, purple seems to be actually bugging out a bit with its military there.
Yep.
Not sure why it's not doing anything.
Okay, we were waiting for the fight between purple and blue, it seemed to be coming.
Yeah, purple having twice the military there.
Yep.
Will take it quite convincingly.
And does have the heal advantage. Plus some sneaky battering rams. And yellow is trying to counterattack. I increased the speed, but it keeps being quite slow because of the lag.
That's how it is in 344s, it seems.
Well, I would say that blue did fine in this battle. At least purple lost a lot of knights.
going for any decisive pushes here.
I don't know why purple went for crossbows. Or maybe it was crossbows trained by Teal and eventually converted by those monks.
Could be.
That's a lot of monks, I would say.
Yeah. Immortal has perfect monk micro, right? So I might as well.
Yep, and purple is back to full population, and once again a scary military population. 93. And yellow's push is turning pretty strong now. Yep.
Not sure where green's army is. Or maybe it's in red space actually. Looking at the minimap.
Good question. Okay, the military population is inside of the barracks and around the barracks with hand cannoneers, archers.
I think it doesn't want to release the military because the target player has so much more military, but that might mean that they will be garrisoned for a very long time, unfortunately.
Yeah, despite
it's not really. It's the code for military rules in Imp for Rehoboam is like 2 years old, so it's not really very thought out.
yeah, at least when you have 40 military populations, you want to ungarrison.
There's only one barrack though. It's probably not making a big difference here.
Okay, purple is taking a clear advantage now.
Yeah.
That pressure was too strong. Both sides. And yeah, now the trade route is attacked. This is the end. In this third game, we've got the next one, which is a 4v4.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard for Rehoboam. I think the 4v4 is the worst matchup for Rehoboam by far.
Well, that 3v3 was a good one, but in fact he did have an issue with its university.
Yeah, I would say this is better than average games for Rehoboam 3v3 versus Immortal. The flanks did quite well in the early game. Partly, I think, because the Immortal, one of the Immortal the Frank player, went for scouts, which was punished.
Well, yellow does have some issues to destroy those castle, which are definitely a good protection for green. Maybe would like to see more trebuchets. It does throw in some rams too, but green's rams are doing a good job each time. More trebuchets, please, yellow.
I can't speed up the game more.
I think that I'm at the maximum of what my computer can do. let me check. Yeah, that's the maximum.
Yeah.
Look at
Probably
yellow's ram. They look lost. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, Green has played nicely this game. If only the green and blue army went for the pocket earlier in Castle Age.
Yep. And I keep thinking that if Teal did play normal, the game would have been really different.
Yeah, probably. That's how it is. There's been so many user patch bugs, and some of them are quite rare, so it's very, very hard to know whether or not they're fixed. Because you can't really test for something that only happens once every 100 games. Especially when you don't know what the issue is, since it only happens on user patch. And I'm not gonna spend any more time on user patch after this tournament.
Well, I think that it's gonna be the last tournament hosted on Up.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, I think that we can give it an end anyway. The game is over.
That's fine by me.
Green is surviving quite well, but believe me, in few minutes it won't be the case anymore. So, score is 3-0. It's a best of 7. It means that at this point, Rehoboam needs to win any single game among the remaining ones.
Yep. I think it would have a good chance of winning the final game, the 1v1. At least it's one. By far the majority of those when I tested, but I doubt we will get to that point,
Well, we've got a
because
4v4.
4v4 is the worst matchup.
Yep, and we've got two 4v4 plus one 2v2 before the possible ultimate game, which in fact is a 1v1. But well, I would say that the 3v3 was kind of better than the 2v2. And remember that
Yep.
Barbarian won a 4v4 against Immortal, but Rehoboam won a 4v4 against Barbarian.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, the difference there is that the flanks can actually kill the flanks of Barbarian. The Rehoboam flanks can kill the flanks of Barbarian to then move on to the pockets, whereas that won't happen against Immortal, because it simply will protect its spells too well, as we saw this game. So even if the flanks lose, then I guess both flanks of Immortal would have to be completely like so much out of the game that it would turn into a 2v4 or something. Um,
So let's have a look at the civilization. We've got Hans plus Japanese added to the Persian and Frankish for Immortal. Japanese as pocket.
yeah, I think the the civ positions for Immortal is a bit unlucky here. I think it would prefer to have Franks and Japanese swapped.
French and Japanese, yep. I don't know if Immortal in 4v4 would go for a drush. As Japanese it would make sense.
Not as pocket, I think.
At least yes. But as Frankish it could be an option.
I think Immortal will go. I think Immortal will go for scouts with Frankish flank, and I think it will go for fast castle into crossbows with Japanese pocket.
Okay. Yellow goes for sneaky drush as Persian.
Yep.
But I don't know what
But
is the target actually.
Seems to be drushing the.
The
Might
pocket, yes.
drush the pocket here.
Yeah. Oh no. It's eventually going on till.
And it's going for five militia drush here. So that's the new. That's the new update, making it do that.
At least it worked pretty well. 3 villagers already dead for Rehoboam.
Yeah, it hit at a nice time where Rehoboam didn't have all its lumberjacks at that lumber camp. So Teal might be dead already here.
Yeah, and we see that the drush is managed quite differently compared to Barbarian.
Yep. Yeah, usually Rehoboam can fend off a 3 militia rush from Immortal. Even a 5 militia rush is usually okay, but the fact that that Rehoboam didn't have all its mills when the rush came meant that the wills just got killed off one by one there.
Yeah. Okay, the archer is eventually clearing this. But this is already 6 villagers lost by Teal. And his side red is
Yep.
scout rushing green. No, it's attacking grey. Okay. Okay, red is switching its target. And I would say that it's targeting blue. Interesting. Oh, it's retreating. Okay, it's time for Teal to have its revenge against yellow. The lumber camp is pretty exposed. I think that yellow doesn't have a great map here.
Yeah, at least there's no wood line to confuse Rehoboam.
Yeah, but it does
But I
have
think yellow has
what to
just...
defend.
Yeah, it probably has just enough military that Rehoboam doesn't feel confident attacking here.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Which
have
is unfortunate,
fletching.
because yeah. I guess I was wrong. The Japanese player is going knights as well.
Yep. It won't have bloodline because it's not DE. Okay, I'm scared that archers will be dead without fletching. That's gonna be pretty hard against this knight. Yep, it was too much. And for some reasons, red, which attempted a scout rush before, didn't make any kill.
I think Gray failed to scout red. Doesn't seem to have moved out with his army at all.
Let me check. Okay, Grey did scout absolutely nothing because, yeah, because of a bug from the scout. Okay, it had to wait the castle age to eventually start scouting. Well, not really, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's the pathing bug again. Unfortunately. Which isn't specific to user patch, but it just, I think it happens like 5 to 10 times more often on user patch.
Okay, so Chile is doubled by yellow and purple. What is blue doing? Actually, blue keeps staying home. Good defense here from the archers. Yeah, but it's already so many villagers lost by Teal. Looking at the civilian population, that hurts a lot.
Yeah, it's too bad Grey didn't scout red. It could probably have done a lot of damage.
Yeah. Well, enemy is found now, but there's so many crossbows.
Yeah, but it has to find the enemy before... It has to find the enemy before Castle Age.
Yeah.
In order to... for the DUC macro to work, unfortunately. I'm not sure what's... yeah, why it's bugging out much more on user patch with the scouting as well. Probably part of it is just the map, the user patch, Arabia map being harder. And more random.
Well, purple does have a impressive kill ratio.
Yeah, it killed the feudal age archers, right?
Yeah, and a lot of villagers from Teal.
Pockets of Rehoboam is having quite a nice boom here. But it's I don't think it's gonna matter though, unfortunately. It's probably even gonna win the fight at space here, but unfortunately no Immortal players has taken significant damage here. Yellow has taken some damage, but not as much as Teal.
Yep, and we know that it's always pretty hard to finish a player. Yellow is pretty far from being dead. Good move here from the archers. At this point it would be pretty interesting from blue and teal to attack purple. In fact, yellow is not considered as being dead, but for having almost no military population, that could be a good timing to attack the pockets. Other side we've got a big attack.
I should probably update the rules for choosing to change target to be more inclined to change target when the military of the flank is very low.
Yeah, that would be interesting. A good addition. That's a lot of knife from green, honestly. That's impressive. 44 knights. which are gonna be cavaliers pretty soon.
Yep. Gray did lose a lot of vills here though, but I guess the green pocket will probably sling it back here.
Mm.
And it took a very nice fight.
Yep. Well, Rehoboam is definitely doing fine in this game. In fact, it's a mess that Grey didn't find red at time, but it managed to win the important battles.
And we have green attacking alone here to red.
All alone. We would have liked to see the
Red
crossbows participating in the battle.
Yeah. Red just got imp here. So there might be a small timing window when green can do some damage before red has imp upgrades. But also, actually red doesn't have that much army. I guess it lost it in the failed attack earlier.
Yep. And for some reasons orange doesn't try to help red.
Yeah, it's not like Barbie, right? Who's always focusing on helping the flank rather than attacking.
So we will have paladins from green right now. That's a good timing. Nice to see some
yeah, red
Albergers
certainly is
from
taking
green.
some damage here.
And the trade routes is attacked, which is a pretty good point.
It's a bit unfortunate that Grey is trying to attack right as it's getting attacked by orange here. It'll probably mean it takes a worse fight overall.
Well, in fact.
But it did. I hope it's gonna be able to get that castle up. That will probably be able to keep it alive if it managed that.
And once again, Immortal managed to build a precious castle next to the PC, which will cost the death of a lot of paladins from green, I think.
Yeah, Model is losing a lot of trade here. It's actually a surprisingly efficient attack due to that.
In fact,
Even if Immortal's vills are safe, then the trade is dying at a very fast pace here. So Immortal might start lacking gold in a few minutes due to that.
and other side blue is doing fine against yellow. It's a mirror situation.
Yeah, it seems the superior boom of Rehoboam's pockets meant they could actually hit their imp timing just early enough to get an advantage against the and damage the flanks of Immortal.
Yep.
Rehoboam's flanks have taken quite a bit of damage as well here, but it seems like even Teal is able to go in this game, so
Yeah.
If Rehoboam can just hold on here and keep killing the trade, that might actually be a chance.
Yep.
Now orange is coming over though to save the trade. It's had enough.
Hmm.
It looks like Gray finally managed to clean the attack from its base.
Yeah, definitely I think that
I hope
this
green.
castle helped a lot. Indeed. Red is no more attacked.
Yeah. Red will need time to reboom here though.
And orange is probably gonna be the dangerous mate now. It did increase its military population. It's time to swing.
I wonder, can you check how many trade cards each team has
Yep, of course.
at this point?
38 for blue, 30 for green, and Immortal doesn't have that many, I would say. 3 for yellow, 5 for orange, red for blue, 4 for blue, sorry. No, 4 for red.
Rehoboam still seems to be missing gold though. Can't really get the population up as it wants to. Blue seems to be missing a lot of gold.
Yes, I agree, that's weird. Well, orange is supporting purple in its fights against blue and teal.
Yeah,
And the
the
score
flanks
is
of
pretty
Immortal are
close.
slowly getting. Yeah, unfortunately it seems like yellow and red are booming back here now. Rehoboam wasn't able to break them. Yellow's actually still castle age here, so it probably isn't contributing that much military-wise. But I think the army of Rehoboam is much more gold heavy. That's probably why it's still feeling like it's lacking gold.
Yep. In fact, it keeps going for paladins only. While orange does have a lot of halberdiers. Well, there can be a small window here for Grey to punish Red for having almost no military population.
Yep. Yeah, I like to see the Rams be attacking the castle there, but
Yeah, villagers are defending pretty well by repairing the castle while attacking the rams.
yeah, if only the military of Grey would kill those vills off.
And once again we can see how strong is the Immortal in surviving and rebooming. Red and yellow are already having a lot of villagers again.
Can you check if any of the trade for Rehoboam is stuck?
Oh yep, there is some issues in the south. In fact,
Yeah.
this is the Alice's style.
I guess the wood lines are making it awkward there.
Yeah.
But I suspect I suspect it may be relatively something that happened relatively recently. I don't think it's gonna be game deciding. I think Immortal would win either way.
Yeah, I think it was recently.
But it's probably why Blue has had such trouble getting its population up. Or I guess it's both blue and green, maybe. Yeah, but now Immortal is fully boomed all around.
Yep.
I guess it's still lacking some trade, but it's Rehoboam will not be able to break it. So now I can spoil what I was gonna say before, that I have never ever seen Rehoboam win a 4v4 on on user patch against Immortal. It wins most of the games on DE 4v4, but on user patch I have never seen it.
Well, in this match, in this game, it was not that far from winning this.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually surprised how well it did, considering the bad start for Teal. There was no real bugs from Rehoboam this game as well. It was just getting slightly outplayed.
Yeah, in fact, the Thresh was a real success for yellow and Teal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rehoboam
I think I
managed
should also
to
make
be
the
close to win.
yeah, I'm fine though with as long as it beat Barbarian. I never really believed it would be able to win against Immortal on user patch. That wasn't the goal, so to say. Or at least not the realistic goal.
Yeah. Well, I think that you are the best to know what was the capacity of Rehoboam to defeat Immortal in up, because I assume that you did several tests.
Yeah, I think it wins like 70% of the 1v1s against Immortal, something like that.
Okay.
At least when it's Frank Mirror. Probably wins like slightly less than half the 2v2s. But 3v3s and 4v4s, I'm not sure I've seen it win a single one of those. So I was hoping for Rehoboam to take a game or two here, but it was just
I see.
unlucky, bugging out the first two games where it had the best chance. I guess we can let this game run for a bit longer, but we don't have to let it run to the end. I think it's pretty obvious that it's over here.
Yep, I can give it a try to make it fast. Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
Oh, I see that some people asked some things in the chat. They asked about the flares of Rehoboam. I think Rehoboam flares when it finds the enemy. It may also flare when it builds its markets. Those two things would be my best guess as to why it may flare. It's not really supposed to flare when it builds its markets and stuff. I just didn't have time to turn off all the debug chat and flares. So that would probably be why.
Well, what I don't like much with Immortal is the way it moves its units all together. I mean, when it moves with the cavaliers, monks, rams, etc., it makes the units moving crap. It happens in Imperial Age.
Yeah, but you know it's hard. It's a hard thing to get right though, because the advantage of it is that when it fights with its army, it will usually have all its army in one place,
In
while
fact,
other AIs may send in units one at a time. But at some point you also just want to be able to send units faster to the enemy and send units to multiple parts of the map. That's certainly something that could be improved in Immortal.
Yep. At least especially when you are dominating into your opponent, you don't need to be that cautious.
I wonder in super late game 4v4 whether Immortal or Barbarian is which one would actually be favored. I think Immortal will win most games because it tends to gain a lead before post-dem. But once it is post-dem, I'm not sure if Immortal or Barbarian is actually stronger, partly due to Immortal sometimes moving army inefficiently around the map at that point, even if it takes good fights.
Alright. Game is officially over. Rehoboam having resigned.
GG.
GG. So, I can update the brackets.
And we have a winner. Congratulations to Immortal.
Yep.
Certainly well deserved.
And thanks Interlopers for your stuff around the rating, ELO rating for AIs having participated to the Davis Cup. And
thank you to Rehoboam for awarding a lot of ELO points to Immortal.
That's right. And I think that Immortal might reach the second place in this ELO rating. And Rehoboam should be around the 10th, something like that.
It'll probably fall down a bit after this series, right?
Yep.
That's fine. I don't think the user patch elo really reflects anything about Rehoboam's DE
In fact,
capabilities.
yep, in fact. Alright, so,
But certainly Immortal did an awesome job here. Really cool AI.
yeah, Immortal just plays different compared to any other AI, which makes its games pretty interesting. And it's really human-like, exactly what we wanted to see.
Hmm?
So for the first time in Davis Cup series, Barbarian is not gonna be the winner. It's replaced by Immortal. So, thank you, TheNightPanda, for this co-casting, which gives the end of this event. And it was definitely
You're welcome.
the biggest tournament I hosted. But well, I had a lot of fun casting this. I'm pretty sure that the next tournaments hosted on the Definitive Edition will bring a lot of more viewers, which is a good point for the AI community. Okay, anything to say, Panda, to close the event?
Nope. I think I'm looking forward to the DE tournaments, and hopefully Immortal uh, will be as strong on DE as it is on user patch,
Hmm?
so we can have a rematch there.
Yep. Thank you, Wattle. Thank you, Arondi, for your comments. That's appreciated. And if I have to rehost another tournament, at least it would be on DE and with less participants. But it's a shame to imagine that so many old AIs won't be able to participate to our next tournament because of the issue they would encounter in the definitive edition. So yeah, Davis Cup in Up was the opportunity to not forget those old scripts and at least to make a great mix between old and new scripts. So thank you guys, thank you TheNightPanda, thank you viewers, and see you for definitive edition tournaments. Bye bye.
Bye bye.